Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today I have with us, she's a filmmaker, and she has a short film I had the pleasure of watching, and it's called A Tenner for Your Time. I have with us Tonks Blum. Tonks, welcome to the Horror Realm.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure having you on. And so, by the way, it's a pleasure of watching your movie. Now, tell my guests who haven't had a chance to see it, tell them a little bit about A Tenner for Your Time.
So A Tenner for Your Time is a 10-minute dialogue, pretty much, between two characters. It's building a little bit on like the old biblical stories, but kind of in a modern setting. So the power between good and bad, between right and wrong, is kind of a moral story about really like, can you ever be saved from your wrongdoings, or do you always pay for what you've done in the past? And we meet these two characters, Miles, who is a homeless man. He's moved out from society pretty much into the forests to isolate himself, to redeem himself from what he's done. And then he meets Kevin, who is opening to help him and get his life back on track.
And like you said, this is a two-person dialogue film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty powerful because, I live here in the States and, in Baltimore, Maryland, and there's quite a few homeless people. And like, I've always, when I'm driving past or walking past, I wonder what their story is, because everybody has a story. And this movie does a great job of hitting that.
Yeah, I think so too. I wanted to tell, obviously it's fiction, but I wanted to really let people know who Miles is, and that he's a person, and even though people just pass him, no one sees him anymore because he doesn't exist to other people. He's not part of society. He's not part of our lives, and it's like he's gone invincible, and even to himself, like he doesn't even see himself as a person anymore. He's just completely stopped existing, and then someone sees him for the first time again.
And it brings up this movie, without getting in spoilers, it brings up a great point. We all have made terrible life choices in our life. Some are bigger than others. But if someone came along and was able to eliminate that bad life choice and change your scenario and probably even take your life into somewhere where it could be better, would you jump on that opportunity?
Yeah, and I think that's the question the film is asking, right? How much are you willing to pay to fix your mistakes and undo the things you've done in your life?
And the short film is 10 minutes long, and it's a two-character dialogue. Was it tough to, in 10 minutes, which is a short time, to build that backstory, to build those emotions, that for someone who's watching as an audience, they can feel the pain of the main character?
I would say the script was really the hard thing for me to, in this film. Like, we spend a lot of time developing the script over and over and over again, and like building this character, and then taking away to kind of build the story to not be too obvious. And there was a lot of rewriting, and there is a long monologue in the middle, which I probably worked on for weeks, just to kind of get that nuance, to tell what we need to know, but also not giving too much away, because you want the audience to kind of start imagining their own scenarios and what happened, and you want to give people an idea of this is his story, but there are so many gaps that you can fill yourself, what might have happened and what have led to another. There's a lot of things that we're hinting about, but it's not rightfully like outspoken. And that was a long process to get to that point with the script, because we really need to understand these characters completely before we got to that point.
Now, two characters in this movie, they do a great job of acting. How important, because especially in indie horror, there's some filmmakers and some audience who say that great acting is not important when it comes to horror films. But the two actors in the movie, they do such a great job. I mean, they build off of each other. Do you feel like acting is important even in horror? Great acting?
I think great acting is important anywhere. Like, you're telling a story, right? You're portraying people, and it doesn't matter what genre it is, because you still need to be able to present those kind of emotions and those arguments and your wants and your needs. And I find that the good thing about horror is that you can take it to the next level. Like, it's acting, but it's also bigger than acting, because you want to reach those really, really difficult feelings. And I think in a lot of ways, acting for horror can be even harder than acting for a regular drama, because it requires more from the actor to really get into those intense emotions, and getting your head into those extreme situations. It takes a lot when you're trying to reach some kind of, even if it's scared, or if it's having a mental breakdown. Having a mental breakdown on film is I think quite hard, because you either overdo it or you underdo it, and you have to find that perfect balance where you're really selling it to the audience and doing it over and over and over again.
And as a horror connoisseur, and I agree with you, as a horror connoisseur, I think the older I've gotten, like, the subgenres of horror, what kind of horror I like, has changed, because I need to care about the characters. Yes, scary, the backstory, but I need to care about the characters and their ultimate demise. If I don't care about the characters, I don't feel anything when something bad happens to them.
Yeah, I agree. I have dabbled with quite a few different ways of doing horrors. I've done some psychotic women, and I've done a little bit more body horror. And it's all about the person, really. Like, it's about building that story, right, and getting people drawn in, and then kind of splash all the horror stuff in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the same with a fight, for example. If the fight doesn't make any sense, it doesn't add anything to the story. And I think it's the same with horror. If you have a ghost, it doesn't matter if the ghost doesn't mean anything, or if the psychopath is just having a knife and slashing people up. Yeah, that's fun, but is it really going to touch you?
Exactly, and rewatchability is not there as well. Just watching people get slashed up. Once again, that's just something I enjoyed as a kid in my early 20s, but now in my 40s, I'm like, I need more of a backstory. I need some character development. I need to care about these characters in order for me to really get into a horror film.
So how did you feel about the characters?
All right, so I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but one of the things I did not know, you did a great job. I did not know where the movie was going. I suspected where I thought it was going, but it wasn't the way it was going. And I agree that you just did enough, told us enough about the main character's backstory that I, in my own mind, interpret it as one thing, but somebody else probably could interpret it completely different. And I'm interpreting it off of my own life experiences and so forth. Um, and at the end, I was like, oh, okay, she knocked that apart because this is somewhere I did not see where it was going. And, there's people who really know me, right? There's like one big thing that happened in my life. Um, it happened in my 20s. And I'm like, fuck. I wish I could have redid that again. Like, there's one thing, it still haunts me at 42 years old that happened in my early 20s that I'm like, fuck, if I would have just did that, my life could have been completely different.
And did this make you think about, what you would give to change that?
I would give a lot. I would give a lot, Tonks. No, I'm joking. But I mean, I wouldn't give my soul to somebody or something like that. But yeah, but I'm like, it had me thinking like, boy, what would I do to be able to go back and right that wrong or fix that mistake? And I mean, I feel like the older I get, I start thinking about the past, but I don't start thinking about the past as good times, fun times. I start thinking about the past like, boy, I wish I would have redid this. Wish I would have took this more serious. I wish I would have started this YouTube channel, 10 years ago. I started thinking like, boy, and I don't know if that's because the older you get, you start, coming to grips with mortality, that there's going to be an end soon. And you just start looking back at stuff and be like, damn, I wish I had an opportunity. And you start looking at kids and be like, damn, if they only know this, and you even try telling them, hey, you should do it this way because I did it this way, but they don't listen. So there you go.
So one thing I still haven't figured out is if this story is what it means. I feel like that it can have a lot of meanings, and I quite like it. I like to make stories which I haven't fully figured out yet, because that means that other people can have the chance to do it as well, and kind of take their own like lesson from it. I would say I like to work a lot with philosophical ideas, and as you might have guessed, and really let people do some of the work themselves, because I find that that's the beauty of art, right? You give people a story, and then they take it into something else, and they create their own meaning with it. And I feel like I managed to do that with a tenor, and I'm really happy about that.
And was there any part of you that was like, boy, I want to give the audience a definitive ending?
Never.
Okay.
Well, maybe I make a sequel. Who knows?
Yeah. Or I would love to see this as a full length feature, and see where this goes, and build more onto the character story and that backstory. I like definitive answers. I don't know why. I usually like cliffhangers, or you can think of stuff. I like a definitive answer to, or an ending to a story, and I would love to see this as a full length feature and where the characters go from here. And that's a good job. That's when you did a good job as a short film. If we make a short film and the audience is asking for more, that's when you knock that apart.
That's definitely been on my mind as well. I would love to build this out into like a whole feature film. I think there is a lot of story to tell, both before and after this short film, plot wise. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe that's the next thing.
Yes, I'm gonna say, is there like one thing in your mind you're like, oh crap, I wish I could, boy, I would give anything to take that back?
No, No,
Yeah,
I'm living a pretty exciting life actually. I'm traveling a lot. I'm living in a motorhome at the moment in France,
nice.
and and I always take my lessons as a progression, and so I've asked myself this question a lot of times, and no, there is nothing I would change. Um, Actually, I'm quite happy.
That's good. That's good. Because I mean, I started this YouTube channel. It's been 2 years now, and I'm like, damn. For years I've been thinking about doing it, and I just kept talking myself out of it. And then one day I said, screw it. But I do look back. I'm like, boy, I wonder what it would have looked like if I would have started 10 years ago. What if I had a 10-year jump on what would it look right? What would my channel look like right now?
And we never know, right? 10 years ago, I
It
was a
could be a
professional
horrible
circus.
mess.
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, I started as a circus performer when I was a child, and then
Wow.
I did that for about 20 years, and then I went into theatre and then film, and all of these steps has been very important and very rewarding, and it's just kind of everything has just built up to where I am today and the art I'm doing, and you can see that whole progress. I think in the art that I'm making, there is a lot of time going into to my career really, and the things I learned in the circus I'm still using in my filmmaking today. So and I'm really excited. I just turned 30, and I'm really excited for the next 10 years of my life and see what that's gonna lead to.
Most definitely. One thing I'm excited about, Tonks. Listen, for the longest time, horror was, it was a West thing. It was a West thing, U.S., UK, and Germany had its horror as well as Italian giallo. But now, I mean, horror is booming all throughout the whole entire world. Asia, Australia, I mean, all throughout Europe. It's an exciting time as a horror fan because you get to see how each group and each culture views their own vision of horror.
Yeah, I agree. I've been looking at international horror for years, and I think it's just getting better and better, really. With you know, as you say, I think horror is culture, and depending on where the horror is made, you see different cultures. It's like fairy tales or folklore. It's the same as horror. It's like this is what we're scared of, and this is the horrors we have in our culture. I actually have a really my dream project is
Mm-hmm.
a series on Swedish a horror series on Swedish folklore that I would love to make sometime because we have just insane folklore, so many creatures, and people still believe in them to some extent, and our whole society has just been built around folklore and like trolls and imaginative creatures and all the stuff that lives in the woods. Um, and that's something that I would love to make because it's my culture, right?
Yeah, and like somebody who lives in the states will love to see what the folklore is and the fears are, and that's why I'm super excited. And by the way, listen, so a tenor, if you sent me the link, can anybody access it? How can my viewers access and watch it?
So a tenor will be released on our YouTube channel, Alatongs Productions. Um, so anyone who wants to watch it can do it there. I think we will be releasing it very shortly. We're also hoping to get into some festivals and get it on the cinema screen. It's always nice, but we are very much our own production house at the moment, so we are releasing everything we do on our YouTube channel.
And I'm gonna have the description the link down in the description for their YouTube channel. So definitely subscribe and look out for the release. Tonks, it's been an absolute blast having you on. By the way, What was the first horror movie that you watched as a kid that really scared the shit out of you?
The Hills Have Eyes.
That's a good one. The original or the remake?
The original.
Yes, terrifying. Absolutely
Terrifying. Yeah.
terrifying. That's a good one.
I watched it in a
What's favorite?
caravan when I was 12, I think.
So that definitely hit at home, literally.
Yeah, we're at the circus tour.
Yeah. All right. Also, Tonks, where can everyone find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram, Alatonks or Alatonks Productions, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm an Instagram girl.
Awesome. Well, listen, Tonks, once again, it's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you for allowing me to watch a tenor for your time. A blast. I look forward to all your future projects. Once again, down in the description, the link to the YouTube channel so you can check it out as well. Also follow on Instagram. That fun little place. So I'm a Facebook guy, but I'm getting used to Instagram now. So TikTok, I don't know. I'm that's something. I have one, but I don't even know what to do with it. But
I'm staying far away from it.
Yeah, it's yes. Everyone, thank you for coming to another edition of Women of Horror Spotlight. I'm Travis Bruce, and that is Tonks Blum. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
That was fun.